Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Hey, seeing everything that's going on in the country, I really didn't feel like answering a relationship question today. I try to, be present in my life, and I got to operate from my heart. And just seeing everything that's happening and all the protests, and even, in my city, having stores, seeing stores getting burned down and looted, and it was a store that my security guard frequents. Got looted, and so we took and gave some just to help out and trying to do something. And every person, everybody can't be on the front line. Me personally, I can't be on the front line because I have two sons to raise, and you just never know what's gonna happen. You never know what can pop off, and so I can't be there. It's a lot of young people out there, a lot of people, without children, some people with children, and they call to that. You got to know where you call to. And that's what I want you to think about, because as I spoke on before, is everybody got a role to play. Everybody has a role to play. The whole world cannot be in the streets protesting. The whole world can't fit. So if you can't be there due to work, due to where you're at, and now, a lot of cities have a curfew. So a lot of stuff gonna be shut down. And people telling people, how to protest. Oh, this is how you protest. We really don't get that right, to tell people who hurting how they hurt. I saw some store owners whose store were burned down or looted, were looted. And I saw their messages, and their messages were like, hey, I'll take this one for the team. Let my store burn or let my store be looted because of the message that's going out. It's a bigger message. Now, I didn't really understand that. Of course, I saw others who were extremely upset for being looted. So what I've learned is that we really don't get the right to tell anybody else how they should feel, how they should process what they're going through and what they're feeling and how they express it. But what you can do is ask yourself, what am I going to do? Coming from where I'm from, voting isn't a big thing. It's hard to believe that a mark on a piece of paper or on a computer screen from a black person will matter or be counted when your life doesn't count. And you really got to think about that. So you have people who say, hey, go vote, go vote, go vote. And that sounds good. And we all should vote. I'm definitely going to vote. I'm definitely going to tell everybody I know to go vote. But when people say, why don't more black people vote? Well, you weigh it out. When a cop will put their knee on your neck for 8-9 minutes and kill you, what makes you, do you think that person, a person who that can happen to, and God rest the soul of George Floyd, but do you think a person that can happen to will believe that their vote matters if their life doesn't matter? Their whole entire life, their entire existence, the children that they have, the spouse that they have, the job that they have, everything taken away. So that's where that struggle comes in. So then you have to ask yourself, hey, what am I going to do? Go vote. If you can, definitely go vote. If you can protest and that's where your heart lies, go protest. I don't judge anybody that's not out there, and I don't judge the people that are out there. Because I'm learning that every single person, instead of casting the stone, instead of looking at somebody else and saying, I don't understand why they're doing that or what they're doing or why they won't do this or why they are doing this, we all just have to look in the mirror and say, what am I going to do? I'm talking to my 13-year-old about it. I'm raising him, and my wife and I raising him with morals, values, integrity. He understands the realities of the world, but we don't teach him to let it affect the way he sees the world or the way he sees opportunity and his place in the world. And we talked about it, and he said, as kids, me and my friends, we're not really talking about this as much because we don't fully understand it. And we're trying to not have to grow up too fast. And so we have a conversation with our parents, but together as kids, we're not really talking about it. We're looking for ways to take our mind off of it because it's so much to process. That's what my 13-year-old said to me. And I respect it and I get that. I can't force him to process it on the level a 20-year-old would. He's 13 years old and has never experienced in his life that he knows of racism or discrimination. Even if he experienced it, it didn't compute to him. He didn't realize it. And all we can do is look at our children and raise them the best way we know how. And so you got to ask yourself, how are you going to respond? And are you going to respond with anger and vitriol? Are you going to respond with action? Are you going to respond with love, tough love, self-love, responsibility, motivation, inspiration, ambition? How will you respond? Because listen, you may not be able to control what's going on outside of your house. But one place that you truly have influence is in your own house, in your life, in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. If you're raising children in their lives, in their mind, you have influence. So remember, do what you can do, because you may not be able to do everything. I was wondering, and I was like, man, some of the celebrities, I said, well, now where's Oprah? Okay, where's Beyonce? Okay, where's Jay-Z? And then yesterday I saw a statement from Beyonce, saw a statement from Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's statement said, after our long conversation, or some words like that, he had a conversation with the mayor to get the district attorney or the prosecutor switched out from one person to the other person, Keith Ellis or Keith Ellison. And I'm like, wow. He didn't go on Instagram Live. He didn't make a whole lot of noise. He got down to business. He got to action, and he made a phone call. So that's what I want you to understand is sometimes people could be doing things that they don't broadcast or that they don't talk about, that they don't feel the need to show the whole world. And then sometimes people will do things just so they can show the whole world and might not actually care. So my point is, you cannot judge from the outside looking in. My point is, you can't cast a stone and you can't put responsibility on anybody else other than yourself. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's what I had asked myself. Me and my wife, so we took and we doing what we can do, doing our part. And as a father, as a husband, and as somebody who is not wrapped all that tight, I cannot. I know my limitations. So it's certain people that they can go in the street and they could be shot with a rubber bullet. They could be tear gas. They could all that could happen to them, and they'll stand there and they could take it. For the cause. I know me. I know myself. It won't end pretty. So guess what? I'm not going to put myself in that position. I'm going to let those who are called to that, who are able to activate and mobilize in that way, I'm going to let them do that. And then I have to find a way that I can activate and mobilize and speak to those who hear me, who are in my reach, and say, you know what? If you can, if you on your path, if you're a criminology major, political science major, social work major, whatever it is, if you can become the prosecutor, stay on your path. If you can become the judge, stay on your path. If you can become the police chief, stay on your path. If you can become the mayor, stay on your path. And if you are not in a position to become any of those things, but you can raise the mayor, you can raise the police chief, you can raise the president, you can raise the prosecutor, the district attorney, the judge, you can raise them, your son, your daughters, then make sure that you impact there. Make sure that you're doing what you can do. Place got looted, place got burned down. You got $100 you can spare. You see the owner started a GoFundMe. Be a blessing if you're able. If you're not able to give money, but you say, hey, I got a couple hours I can give to go help sweep up the glass in the daytime before the curfew hits. See, each of us can be doing something, but none of us are in a position to put responsibilities on somebody else. Because unless you're going to carry it, unless you can carry that responsibility, unless you're going to do it, then we can't tell anybody else, hey, you should be giving this, you should be saying this, you should be doing this, because everybody has to account for their own life. And you don't know what anybody has going on in their situation. And so all we can do is do what we can do to hold those accountable who need to be held accountable. So you might be in a position that all you can do is sign the petition and sign it in 10 different names. That might be the only thing you able physically, emotionally, financially able to do right now. Do that. If you're allowed to vote, you 18 or over. I don't know if felons can vote everywhere. If you're a felon, you can't vote. But you say, hey, I could go sweep up some glass from the stores to help that business owner that is a good person that I know personally. Okay, might not be able to vote because I'm 17 or because I'm a felon, but I could go help sweep up some glass. You see what I mean? Everybody can do something, and that's really where we have to get to, is identifying where is your heart. And remember, I talked about this the other day. I don't know if you saw the video, but what you got to realize and what you got to remember is that when you allow someone to make you angry constantly, meaning that you remain angry, you give all of your power away, because you cannot operate from anger. You cannot produce greatness. You cannot produce excellence from anger. You can have a righteous indignation. You can be motivated to bring about change. But make sure that you operating from motivation, inspiration, determination, and not hate, not anger. Because although it may feel as if it's serving you, it's actually hindering you. You render yourself powerless. So yes, we want to say, oh, I want to be angry. I want to hate them because they hate me. I know you want to say that. I know you want to feel that. But when you're in that place, what are you producing? What are you capable of? Think about that. Look at what you've produced from anger and hate. But now, determination, motivation, inspiration, courage, bravery. You see what I mean? Those things, those other emotions can have a much greater impact and keep your heart and your mind intact and not render yourself powerless, because that's what an oppressor wants to do. He wants to steal your mind. He wants to affect you psychologically, because if he can steal your mind and he can cripple you with self-hate, hate for him, hate for the world around you, and anger, if he can cripple you, he owns you. But instead, you get determined. You get motivated. You become driven. You operate from bravery and courage in your actions and your determination to raise amazing children. Now you start to shift the narrative. Now you start to affect change. Now you have power. Now you have control over your life. So understand, you don't have to lay down. I ain't saying lay down. I ain't saying throw in the towel. None of that coming out of my mouth. I'm not saying judge or critique anybody else. But what I'm saying is evaluate your energy, your efforts, your heart set, your mindset. Evaluate that. And then make a decision on what are you going to do. Because if you feel as if you can't affect anything outside of you, is one thing that you can affect, and that's you and yours. Hey, this is Tony Gasson. God bless you. We'll talk soon.